widget and run whatever JavaScript enhanced code you could directly use DB Connect and DB Send, DB Get. And here we have such a WebView widget on this panel. This is the big area, and that is JavaScript code. This is some whatever HTML, JavaScript stuff, and so on. And this is just doing a little test, performance test regarding when you do 10,000 or whatever DP gets in the JavaScript environment, and or a DP get period if 13,000 elements or something like that, and when you do this in control, and then you will see that of course the okay, it's 10,000. What I select, I guess, whatsoever. 50,000 doesn't really matter. The point is, the speed is like, triple the speed. So the control is of course faster. JavaScript is not that fast, with this interface and so on. It's 3 times slower, but anyway, that's not about speed here, because you want to have nice graphics, for instance, those things, those dashboards, capabilities, and JavaScript stuff, what is graphic-wise very nice, that is of course the reason why you want to use it. There is also a nice example here about data in such widgets, where you display one or the other thing. Okay, so just as a short intro to that, will be available soon. There's the market. Where is this tier portal plugin? Then you install OA 315. You will find in the data folder, you will find CL setup, and there is not only the desktop user interface and all this kind of stuff, setups for Linux and Windows and so on, but in Windows 64 you will also find the semantic export tool for the tier portal. Version 13, version 14. Okay? And then you install to your machine where you have your tier portal, and then in the tier portal you have an export tool that will produce a zip file with JSON encrypted files with all the necessary data. I'll show you the example on my project. New features 315. In the data folder, you will find tier project, and here you have to place your export. And inside here, you just find some JSON strings, and of course, those JSON strings, they are garbage. This is encrypted data, cannot be viewed. It's only that the program itself can decrypt this information. Okay? And when you place it here in your project data tier project, then in your project, of course, you need to have the S7 Plus driver running. You cannot use the simulation driver to browse those files. That must now be, of course, the real driver, the S7 Plus, what you are using right from the beginning, because that is needed to browse those files. So in the system management, drivers, S7, yes, we have now 2 drivers. We have the old one and we have the new one. The old one is the S7 driver, the new one is the S7 Plus. If you have used the tier symbolic already in the previous version with the old driver, with the 314, I told you we discontinued that functionality with the old driver because that was a backdoor to the PLCs, and it's not allowed any longer. And so you have to convert it, but the symbolic addresses, they are the same names, of course. The they can be used in the new driver in the very same way. So we have created this migration here. Yeah? If you have used the symbolic early to 315. Okay, if not, then you start from scratch, and with the S7 Plus driver, I told you, here you do the 1200 and 1500 PLCs, with the old driver, you do the 300 and 400 PLCs. By the way, the new driver cannot talk to the old PLCs. The new driver can only use the symbolic addressing with the optimized blocks, okay? The old driver can use the old addressing with data blocks and bytes. Of course, you can also talk to a new PLC with, by using data blocks and bytes, but the idea is you use the new driver for the new PLCs, okay? So, and now we are facing here a little slightly different screen. For instance, you have to specify the driver number first when you create the first before you create the first PLC. Why so? Because to browse the files, it is necessary that we do this with the correct driver. Driver must be running. This is a little bit to the contrary to the old driver. Then you specify with what number it's running, and then you can directly browse the files. I demonstrate. When I create a new PLC, you select the name, and they ask you, do you want to configure the symbolic? Yes, I do. And because I have 2 project files in my tier bottom folder, I see here now the 2 projects. The user day projects. This contains just one 1500 PLC, and this training things, okay, there are obviously 2 stations inside, so that's maybe 2 1200 PLCs, things like that. And of course you can browse that and go down deeper the structure, and so you can see all the different symbolic names. And this tree here is done live. The driver is browsing the file and getting the result on some internal data points. And that's what populates the tree. Here, the browsing is only used that you are selecting now the correct PLC. Because you can have 10 PLCs in one project, that's not the problem. And you now create whatever PLC name that you name, and you must select, okay, this is my PLC. Done. And then, it will automatically do all the setting for you, because that's also defined. It is a single PLC, it has this IP address configured in tier portal, it's a 1200 PLC, and so on. One thing, that the communication is working, you notice from tier portal, from semantic.net. You need to set the PC interface to the correct network adapter. I use wireless at the moment, and so I need to use wireless. But I also use a VPN, and I'm not sure if I can reach the PLCs. It doesn't look like, because that is the PLC in our company network, and I'm working from remote. So you can see, it tries to connect, but via the VPN connection, I think I cannot get our test network in the office. So I cannot connect to the actual real PLC. Sorry for that. Nevertheless, this is not needed to show you the address, because the file is needed to do the browsing and show you all this kind of stuff. But you see, this is also a different feature. It would try to connect to the PLC right away. And it shows you immediately, I can reach the PLC or not. Okay? The PLCs have a number of subscriptions, what they can do. Subscriptions are, of course, much better than polling, because subscriptions are treated in the way that you ask for a refresh interval, but for the subscriptions, you define that you only want to be notified, of course, when there is a change. So, I tell the PLC, please check all the values every 100 milliseconds, but only give me the new values if there is a change. Right? That is, of course, very convenient. But the different types of PLCs are only having a limited number of subscriptions available. Why so? Yeah, because that is the power of the PLC. It needs some power for doing this checking and so on, and the rest is reserved for the program itself. And a small 1200 PLC can do far less subscriptions than a big 1500. Okay, that is also clear. But there is always a fallback. When you create a subscription, then automatically, with the very same update frequency, yeah, there will be a point group created in the background with the same name. And when you get the problem with the subscriptions, when you, for instance, with mass configuration, create 1,000 addresses, yeah, but your PLC only supports 500 subscriptions, and then, okay, the first 500 are subscribed, but the other can only be polled. Yeah? And that is always the fallback. Yeah? Polling with the same refresh rate as the subscription is specified, and then your driver is, of course, doing the new comparison and smoothing and all this kind of stuff like normal. Okay? Subscriptions is better, of course, then you have less communication to the PLC. But the PLC's capabilities are limited, and therefore the fallback is polling. Okay? When there are questions, then you can ask me at any time.
Yes, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
The question is, in the old driver, we have a possibility to use TSPP protocol, but it is a big challenge to launch this connection. It needs a lot of work on the PLC side. How it looks here in the new driver? Maybe it becomes easier.
The problem is already solved. That are subscriptions.
Yes, but okay.
Are pushed from the PLC.
Yeah, what about the timestamp?
Of course, comes from the PLC.
Great.
Sure, that is here. I didn't show you, but on the advanced setting, you can see that you want to get. Where is the time? Here the next one. The time settings. You get the time from the PLC, but of course you can also sync the PLC time to your SCADA time, of course, and you either use UTC or none, you use the logo time or you use UTC, but that is a feature what you can now select here directly on those panels, and you can do all the settings on those panels. It should be much more convenient to you also, instead of doing config entries. Yeah? So a lot of things now work from this panel directly from within here, and you don't need to do so much setting on the config file anymore. Okay?
Sorry, could you please clarify finally? So it means that if I will have some delay in the network, anyway, I will receive the telegram from Semantic PLC with initial timestamp.
Exactly.
On my PLC, and I will accept it on the COA side.
Yeah, and if you use the feature, you want to compare the timestamp when the PLC did the timestamp and when you have received the data. I know that this is a feature you use in the transnet architecture. This is the use system time. That is of course still available because this is a generic feature from the common driver flag. That's the second timestamp can be used for these alarm events when you use this config setting. For alarms only, of course, yeah? Not for every event, but well, that you know.
Okay. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Marcus, one question.
Yeah, of course.
This export tool is exactly the same as VCC 7 or is different?
I have no idea what VCC 7 is.
Okay. Well, more or less the
tool. It will be more or less the same, but yeah, I think they also need to introduce it to Tier Portal. I think nothing is included. out of the box, right? I'm not sure.
No, I think it's the same. No, you have this possibility in TIA portal. Click export tool is probably the same.